A typical studio setup using the EM-98MS as an overhead shotgun pointing at my mouth directly, now connected to Tascam X6 on-camera shotgun microphone. Welcome to a new S-Lab video. The EM-98MS was recently published with Mackie's mobile line of microphones for vlogging and further professional audio-video work, the EM-93M compact mini shotgun mic, the EM-95ML remote lavalier, and the one we're going to focus on here, this EM-98MS as well. It aims for users on a medium budget, which besides the fact that they do have to economize, are looking for solid, simple to use, but nonetheless durable, highly professional and rock-stable gear that may accompany them for ages. And it looks like Mackie wasn't doing anything wrong so far. Some minor issues might have been avoided, which we will come to towards the end of this video. But in general, I'm more than surprised and impressed by this excellent piece of gear. Super-Cardioid design with very specific, or how should we call it, with a very pinpointed polar pattern. Included cold shoe mount to plug into any cold or even hot shoe of your camera. Dedicated headphone output. This is very useful if your camera does not have a headphone output. Otherwise, it is of course always better to control the sound directly through the headphone output of your camera. Internal rechargeable lithium-ion battery. This is where I had my problems at first because I thought the microphone wouldn't work, but then it turned out that I just needed to charge it thoroughly at first. 75 or 150 Hz high-pass filter, switchable via the special button here on top of the microphone. Of course, you can also deactivate it. Fully variable gain, which can be adjusted continuously between level 0 and 10. Overload protection mode. When activated, the left channel of the stereo signal is cut by 10 decibel, so that in case of a sudden, very loud audio signal, the sound can be restored without distortion via the low-level track. And please note, this microphone is not recording anything in stereo, it's pure mono, but this mono signal is distributed on 2 tracks, which would also be possible with a stereo signal. So in this case, activate the protection mode will just lower the signal, which is both just anyway a mono signal, sorry, but I wanted to make that clear. Automatic on-off. This actually works with most cameras and recorders I've tried it with, so I'm sure there are a lot more on the market. And this means, besides the fact that of course you can turn the microphone on or off with this on-off switch here on top, but you can also just plug it into a device and the microphone will turn on magically whenever the camera is activated or switched off again. In this respect, if the microphone was previously charged, you don't need to worry anymore about forgetting to turn off your microphone or to turn it on. Included fur and foam windscreen. This is super cool because in most other microphones you would still have to buy those equipment for a load of money. Included carrying case. This is also super nice because the microphone is protected this way and you have all essentials at one grip, but you should also note that it comes with a relatively space occupying box, so it takes space. And by the way, just for you to know, all my words until now and further on until we are going out to the countryside have been recorded with the EM-98MS directly plugged into my A7 IV, which is recording this video. It's like around 1 arm length away. Yes, you're right, a shotgun mic is optimized for outdoor recordings. Nevertheless, we will always find some very interesting and also high-resolution YouTubers which are still using shotguns for their studio setup as well. In the end, it comes always down to the question if the studio has been isolated well and if reflections that would necessarily bounce back from the walls have properly been eliminated. For this purpose, usually some foam or form mats are used to diffuse the reflections, or the simple way could be to hang some blankets into your room. More on this topic in a later part of this video. So, now we are in the woods. And here, for obvious reasons, there are no walls throwing back any reflections towards the sensitive grid-structured sides of this shotgun mic. The dead cat contained in the package is attached because we want to avoid any air-related distractions, and I'm going to leave you now with a minute of silence here in this kind of nature paradise. By the way, we are still somewhat close to the city, so never mind if there may be some few industrial sounds or cars in the very edge of this recording. Speaking of nature paradise, I'm going to also now offer you a holy moment of field recording pleasure. The camera just gazing into space with the EM-98MS connected directly to the mic in of the SONY A7 IV. And for direct comparison, here this is a recording with the internal mics of the A7 IV. Of course, no dead cat attached to those mics. This is what it sounds like. Now back in the studio, I'm presenting you a typical studio setup using the EM-98MS as an overhead shotgun pointing at my mouth directly with its Super-Cardioid pattern, and the EM-98MS is now connected to Tascam X6 recording at 24-bit at 48 kHz. This is more than enough for this specific studio situation, and we don't need to waste too much disk space using 32-bit float. Please leave a comment below this video explaining if you like this general soundscape for studio recording, even though shotguns are not typically used and instead pencil mics in theory should be the preferred choice. Next to the EM-98MS, I installed the Zoom ZPC-1, my favorite Zoom mic so far. This is a general sound comparison regarding clarity. Please keep in mind that the walls here in this little kitchen studio are not properly isolated, so there will be some reflections bouncing back from the walls, and possibly therefore using a shotgun in this context is not ideal. Let's listen to the noise floor of both microphones in comparison now. Let's listen to the noise floor of both microphones at plus 24 decibel. You should be aware, of course, this test is not really objective because it's a test cardioid on the ZPC-1 versus Super-Cardioid on the EM-98MS. So the focus of the Mackie microphone is even a little bit more tight, pointing towards my mouth, whereas the pencil mic might catch a little bit more space at the same time. Also, we must consider the zoom is a pencil mic, and as I mentioned, the problems with shotgun mics indoor already. The EM-98MS is a shotgun mic. Between us, let's never forget that it always comes down to the question what your own perception thinks is right and important. How it sounds okay, how it feels good is more important than what some dusty textbook or any kind of YouTuber is trying to tell us or was trying to tell us once upon a time. So now, as promised already in the beginning, my 3 minor issues with the Mackie EM-98MS. Somehow to me it is never really sure what the actual battery level of the EM-98MS is like. Of course, I did all my kind of tests outdoor and indoor until now with the same charge and there was no problem, and I assume it's going to last much longer, but it could be nice to have just like a level meter or something like that to make sure you have enough battery. Better charge the microphone anytime. Plus also it takes quite a while to charge it, and from this point of view it could be even more useful to be equipped with exchangeable batteries. We could of course also use rechargeable ones here as well. Next, it could have been so nice to be able to use this Mackie shotgun as a USB microphone as well to connect to some of the action cameras, smartphones and computer gear as well. You name it. But I also respect Mackie in their professional approach because it is a shotgun and not a pencil mic, and so it is mainly to be used for outdoor recordings, and on the other hand it might have become much more expensive in order to function as a USB mic as well, which is not really what the microphone is aiming for. So from this perspective I also somehow agree with their straightforward decision. By the way, thank you very much Mackie for providing this mic copy for review to me. Apparently Mackie liked the other reviews from my playlist up here. Anyway, it was fun to try out the EM-98MS as well. As always on my channel, I was completely unbiased and I intended to be as unemotionally and objective as possible. Mackie had no say whatsoever regarding the outcome of my video. They are seeing this video just at the same time as you. Thanks for your attention and sharing your precious time with me. I hope to be able to welcome you soon at another ASLab video. Bye bye.